Lifestealer. He doesn't care about rage. It's very easy for him to kite the open wounds, which is a big tool that Lifestealer needs to kind of man up against another one position. And, even with a Dazzle behind him and all this control, Lycan should have a pretty good time in these fights. It's going to force BHZ into this Winter Wyvern pick, which in a vacuum is nice against the Lycan, and in all honesty, pretty good against the entire lineup of LGD, as they are pretty physical damage oriented, but it does feel like it makes the lanes a slight bit weak for BHG with this Riki Winter Wyvern combo. If Riki's not able to get a lot done in the early game, it feels like LGD will be able to secure an advantage out of the laning stage.
I mean, this is also going to make this Dazzle pick just absolutely bonkers. You will be able to, of course, save your allies, as will the Winter Wyvern, but at the same time, you have summons galore with the Lycan, with the Beastmaster. That should be 2 Necro books, probably. I don't really see any compelling reason to not do that, so LGD are just going to zoo down BraveHearts, and as far as BraveHeart's methods of controlling those books, they don't really have a ton. Their AoE is kind of spread out and not super convincing. Maybe they'll be able to handle it with a Lifestealer Rage and an Infest. That's usually a pretty good method of taking down a handful, but LGD looking like just they're going to plan on ending this game really quickly because they don't want to waste their time here. They have things to do today. We'll see what hero they want to grab last, most likely for the mid lane that's going to facilitate that. Not going to be that DK, which would have given them the most outright pushing power. But either way, they know the matchup is Puck, so they will probably have a decent matchup pretty much regardless of who they want to select. For BraveHeart Zombie, though, they're going to go ahead and grab a Clockwork, which is just going to add to this very, very single target heavy kind of pick-off oriented strategy, very similar to what we saw from LGD in the last game. And I think this Clockwork is probably going to have a slightly better time than Shao 8 because the bar isn't really set super high. Okay, we got a TA on the field.
Yeah.
A little bit of extra minus armor, and as you said, LGD with a lot of physical damage, they can tear through these heroes very, very quickly. But of course, TA is not really fun to play up against Winter Wyvern. This Winter Wyvern pick now just looking absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the pick I was actually looking for maybe in the mid lane was maybe a Timbersaw. I felt like that diversified their magic profile, damage profile quite a bit, and is a decent matchup versus the Puck with the reactive armor. But much the same way with the refraction, maybe TA should be able to find a decent time. If they do rotate over FT with the Winter Wyvern, the Lifestealer is definitely susceptible to some potential ganks coming out from LGD. So I feel like they'll find a trade regardless. Maybe can always recover through Ancient Axe. There's no one else on the team that farms them aside from the Beastmaster, which is, a very slow. And LGD, they're just going to make their Roshan that much quicker with this TA pick. So going to go all in on the physical damage. And, Winter Wyvern can only be saving one hero at any given moment. And you always want physical burst up against the light. So I really don't mind the TA pick all that much. It felt like there was a couple of options for LGD there, but it definitely does ramp up their Roshan potential as well as just physical burst, which is already extremely scary. And if you add a weave to the fray there, it could get even worse. So LGD definitely look very, very strong when they're going to hit their timings. It's on BraveHeart and this Riki get enough done in the early game to push those timings back and get their necessary farm up. I feel like a lot of this is going to be on the BraveHeart towards the mid game.
Just saying, LGD would have gotten away with level 1 Roche, probably. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe it's just a little bit too all in for their liking up against a team that they probably figure they are superior to. But either way, we'll see how much room this Riki is actually able to provide. He's gotten a little bit of extra damage here, and of course he's got the Invis level 1, so he's going to see Shao 8 and whatnot. He's going to scout out the Beastmaster, and if the Beastmaster is forced to go into the jungle, then Riki is going to mess with him there as well. But we can see that even with these double fairy fires, he's only hitting for 40 a pop. It's not really super influential. So once you get level 2, things get a lot cleaner as Riki, since you're actually able to follow up with the smoke screen, and together with the Puck may just be enough to kill off the likes of maybe's Templar Assassin. But it just doesn't seem like Riki's position in this game is really all that useful. Like the last two picks from LGD, or the last 2 core picks from LGD in the Templar Assassin and the Lycan are very, very resistant to what Ricky has to offer. I mean, the smoke screen is annoying kind of for maybe, but generally he'll be able to battle through that without too much of an issue, and Lycan of course can just run through it no problem. So I don't really know if now the Ricky pick is the hero that BraveHearts are happy to actually end up with. They're battling over this mid lane with all these sentry wards, and it seems like the sentries are all dead for the Dire, so Radiant come out ahead there. But yeah, Ricky is a hero that I'm pretty sure BraveHearts would like to repick at this stage, because I don't feel like his contributions are going to be nearly enough. They're going to start off with maybe landing 4 back scratches here on the Templar Assassins. That's a reasonable way to start.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little while before maybe has the bottle, so getting the first point in side blades may hurt him a little bit here. He's going to be bullied out of lane, and yeah, I do feel like the Bane Dazzle support duo very resistant in general with the Nightmare and the Grave these rotations. But first skill point in the refraction going to come out. Maybe we'll find the kill. It looks like he'll get the return for the puck, which is certainly nice. But now the Bane rotating through with the brain snap. He needs one more right click. John not or Illusory Orb not up for a couple of seconds. The Bane with a bit of a move speed advantage. Can't get the right click off though with that phase shift skilled up. Like BraveHeart will be able to retreat back. Now the Ricky though doesn't bring the salve out for the puck, so it is going to be a little bit of time wasted with this courier having to walk it out, and unfortunate death for maybe, but either way it feels like LGD can recover. However, aggressive top lane could be in a bit of trouble. Battery assault will be there from Red, and Red, as soon as the rotations come through to deal with this Ricky mid lane, is able to net a kill on the Lycan, a big one at that. Standing up in lane will get himself a boots and render him more survivable in this lane. So the Ricky, whether directly or indirectly, is having an impact here early on for BraveHeart.
And I keep watching bottom lane also because Xiao 8 is constantly dropping low but not dying, so missing all these kills. My apologies, guys. But yeah, the only way that you get that kill as TA at this stage in the Ricky is if there's a tower dive involved, so you've got to calm down just a little bit. And as I said, a lot easier in this game for Clockwork to find success than in the last game. Maybe he's going to get dove in one more time. He does have another fraction, so he's not going to die here. He'll be able to bottle up pretty decently, but yeah, the Lycan matchup versus Clockwork, that in of itself in lane is not great for the Lycan. Even with the Wolves being able to be shadow waved up, just get a little bit of physical nuking damage there from your Dazzle, it's still not going to be a worrisome lane for this Clockwork, especially getting that kill now. He's level 4. He's already way ahead of where Xiao 8 was in like 5 minutes, just 3 minutes in the game. So they are now going to go for Xiao 8 one more time. Is this going to be yet another missed kill? Yes. I'm just not going to look at bottom lane ever, because every time I look there, I feel like someone else is going to die.
Yeah, Arctic Burn just expiring there. The open wounds level 1 as well, a bit underwhelming for Balloon, and unable to bring down Xiao 8. He salves up, so he's at least dragged this Wyvern here, and maybe hasn't had a good time here early on because of the Ricky. And if there were a Wyvern to burn the refraction charges on top of that, it could be even worse. Will dodge, YC will dodge the last right click from maybe Mamoya though. He's caught out the Ricky. Look to pincer him in here. It looks like he'll skill up the blink and be able to make it back to safety for now. But Ricky already level 3 is boding well. BraveHearts overall, they have probably had to rotate this puck in and out of lane a little bit too often for their liking, but he does have the 1 kill on the TA, so only trailing the TA in net worth by about 250 gold at this point.
He's now going to make his appearance on the top lane perhaps. Together with a Clockwork, you catch someone in the cogs and you smoke them. Unless they have like a BKB or something like that, they're probably going to die really regardless of who they are. Or even if there's a Dazzle there, like there's no guarantee that you're actually going to escape that. We do have Xiao 8 grabbing an Invis rune, so that's pretty sweet for him just to absorb a little bit of extra experience on this bottom lane. But it seems like Aggressive is the one who's going to be in perhaps a little bit of trouble. Red he has no creep support here, however, and Aggressive had all the creeps in the world, so Battery Assault kind of bad in that situation. But still with the Ricky here, there are many options for this Clockwork if his creep wave is actually able to stay alive, and it doesn't really seem like that's going to be the case. This Bane so far hasn't really been doing a hell of a lot. He's level 2.5, which isn't bad considering how little he's done, but we're probably not going to see impact from MMY to the same degree that we saw in that last game, really regardless of whether or not his cores get farmed. And his cores are, for the most part, farming. And Xiao 8 not having a great time here on this bottom lane. He's level 3, and that's not too unreasonable, but the Templar Assassin, she's farming happily versus the puck, and same thing for the Lycan up towards top lane. So LGD probably going to get some space from MMY just through power through their cores.
Yeah, and popping his wolves there will save his life top lane, as you They could have gone in for him by the side shot, but the battery assault's not reliable with those two wolves there. So the Riki, you know, his rotation a little bit wasted, and he knows that top lane, the only time he will have kill potential is when one of the supports are missing. If you initiate onto aggressive and, you know, there's a Bane to nightmare him up from the outside or a shallow grave there from the Dazzle, it's unlikely that you'll even if you push away with the cogs. So definitely wise rotations thus far from the Riki, I feel. That one a little bit unfortunate in the sense that he was just unable to find the opening when the wolves came out for aggressive. He was able to soak up a little bit of experience with that invisibility bottom lane, and you know, he's kind of gone undetected and will pick up his level 4, so doing decently, you know, relative to the Clockwork, and can't really hold a handle with the Clock picking that solo kill on the laner. But speaking of which, Red, he does have his hook shot. He's able to join up with the Riki and look in something here.
They'll look for the Winter Wyvern, and they'll cut through the trees, but just not enough range on the Templar Assassin to get the kill. And now MMY is going to get his wounds opened up. Trap is there, but it won't do anything versus the Leicester, so MMY looking for a deny towards Roche, but the Leicester damage is way too high. Xiao only with an aura to really contribute to this, is not going to be able to help out his friendly Bane. So Leicester makes a short rotation, gets the kill. Now they hook shot onto maybe with a smoke screen cloud there. Maybe has a haste rune. He's going to try to book it, but gets bumped by the cogs, and the Dazzle rotation is just a little bit too late. LGD lose a couple of heroes in this very early game stage. That's kind of what happened in the last game as well, but the difference here is that the deaths are kind of being spread around, and mostly it's the Templar Assassin who's also going to die, whereas last game it was pretty much exclusively Xiao 8's death, which is fine since you still have farming cores elsewhere. Losing your Templar Assassin there hurts quite a bit. At least their Lycan is still kind of farming decently after his first death.
But he doesn't push into the tower really at all, so BraveHearts, they're not set back whatsoever from that rotation from Red. And, you know, LGD is not prepared for a 6.5 minute hook shot coming out. It does seem like the Riki has really panned out here in the early game overall, and, you know, the Clockwork being able to find as much as he is certainly unexpected a bit from LGD's side. Xiao 8's been, you know, a little bit deceptively survivable, I would say, in the bottom lane as well. So for the most part, BraveHearts, they're finding good trades in all of their lanes, and the Riki facilitating most of that. Maybe gonna do some farming of some stacks here in the jungle, and is being stalked at least to have his XP leaked out towards this Riki here at the very least. There's not gonna be, it doesn't feel like a rotation through, maybe is pretty survivable, but they're gonna jump in with the coil now. Aggressive is on the high ground, the Dazzle is here as well. This could backfire heavily for BraveHearts, and they will just end up losing the Riki, it seems. Hookshot is gonna come forward, but it only catches the TA. Red could be in trouble now as well. Gonna back out on the Clockwork. They'll continue to chase him down. They get the Psionic Trap off, and they give John out. The puck has to bring himself to safety, and Red, he will be chased down here to aggressive. With the Shapeshift expiring, we'll just body block up the Clockwork. Turn for the one last big swipe with claws. And a little bit deep behind enemy lines, it's going to be that first blunder from this roaming combination. Red joining up as well, and Shap, he's just going to TP out here bottom lane, so he'll just fine in the meantime. And LGD, with a little bit of a set of circumstance, really get favor. Aggressive though, he has no shapeshift here. It's a bit tanky innately. Will be able to man up against the puck. The Dazzle rotating through as well, so having to get back to base, and that's almost essentially like dying for this puck, having to waste his time teleporting back. It'll allow maybe to get back to lane, a little bit of free space. He picks up that kill involvement as well, and things looking up now for LGD.
Yeah, just a little bit. Need a couple more like that if they're really going to get into the driver's seat and really start to explode in their aggression. But this is what happened in the last game. Going pretty well for BraveHeart Zombies up until that tipping point, and then GD just go off like a rocket. Riki is still getting a lot of experience stolen here, but he is going to be spotted now by aggressive. So we'll see if any rotations are able to be made. Riki knows that there's detection here. He just died to it earlier, so still playing this jungle area rather boldly, and they're going to actually give the top lane over to September. Pretty much the same exact rotation that they made with aggressive, but this time benefiting the Dazzle over the Bane, who's still kind of hurting in his experience department. At this point, I think, in the last game, both supports from LGD had their ultimates at least, and of course they are slightly behind here right now, but maybe he's actually found himself a big one. He's going to clear out a big stack of Ancients, but again, there's an annoying Riki in the area. If they randomly dust, they can kill him off, but I think they're really going to get tipped off to this. Riki might just level 6 off of this by stealing this experience.
Yeah, the Bane looking to level up as well, but is a bit behind the Riki at this point, so it's going to be nice to soak up, but they aren't really finding trades elsewhere. They're aware that there are 2 heroes nearby. Red, though, he's rotating in now. Yeah, on the Clockwork, and maybe is a little bit low here. They're going to drop down the smoke screen and try and get into range. Battery Assault going to be popped off here. Will not connect. Nicely placed Nightmare from Mamoya. Riki will take it off, but it'll be a bit too late for them to continue to aggress forward. There is a double damage rune, and you know, they're not the greatest lineup at taking Roshan, however, for LGD, or for BraveHeart side, where LGD is very proficient at doing so. And you know, speaking of Roshan, something similar in nature is going to be the structures, and LGD's aggressive Lycan. In the meantime, with all this tomfoolery, we'll be able to take out that tier 1 in the offlane.
And that was just a couple of seconds left that they had to wait. If Clockwork had a hook shot there, they have a very good chance of killing off that Templar Assassin, but it's not the case. They're going to look for Xiaowei down towards the bottom lane. Open wounds, plus the smoke screen. Actually, no open wounds just yet. Now they're going to use it. He's going to have a chance to roar, but he decides not to. Lifestealer Riki teaming up for a pretty easy kill on the director down towards bottom lane. LGD, though, still able to absorb that cost, mostly because the Lycan was able to take down the top lane tier 1 while, as I said, all that was happening, and he is looking at his first level of book probably pretty soon. Yeah. And of course, you always have to keep tabs on Roche if you're BraveHearts. They do have a Clockwork for that, which is of course very nice, and a Riki who may be able to scout that out without being spotted, but for the most part, that's LGD in the pretty easy objective they could take in the near future. Right now, though, it looks like they want to smoke up. They will do so behind their tier 1. And I don't think that was spotted by Subserve Ward, but the smoke will immediately broken on Riki. On the side, they'll drop a sentry, see nothing. Drop another one, they'll probably be able to see the Riki off on the side, and they will get a glimpse of him. And now they know for sure where he's at. He's going to smoke screen so the Bane can't cast anything, but now with the dust, he's going to go to Tricks of the Trade with hookshot in from red. He's going to try to get onto MY and kill him off. The Grave is there from the Bane. He will keep himself for a little while longer as the Riki is just going to get torn up by the Wolf. They lose the Dazzle in exchange, however, and MY is going to get chased out by the Clockwork. Will fall as well. Now finally the Roar comes out onto Balloon, but a great curse is actually going to distract aggressive towards Xiao 8, almost killing off the Beastmaster with a Splinter Blast. They will. Maybe he's going to arrive, but aggressive dropping very low. Bump back by the Cog. He's still not dead just yet, as maybe just starting to clean house, even with the double damage rune here on the Pucks. Maybe is not taking any damage in the meantime because all the supports are trying to save the Lifestealer, who's going to get hit with the Psionic Trap. Maybe can one shot any of the Lifestealer before he can armlet toggle. Doesn't seem like he's going to get quite close enough. They're all said and done. Maybe is the big winner here, unless Riki's going to rotate it in again. He's going to Infest Bomb onto 2 heroes. Maybe he's one of them. He's going to just meld out, though, and he's going to be just fine. Now Balloon's going to arrive into a grip. He's going to die. With a sentry to drop, they may just catch up to the Riki as well. They dust him up for the second time now, and LGD are, in fact, going to get a delayed full kill of the BraveHeart squad. Aggressive, getting paid off huge by that. That's pretty much booked. Maybe getting a lot of cash from that as well, and LGD, they're starting to rally around their Lycan and TA.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like that team fight goes entirely to all the control that they drafted in the first phase over the Lifestealer. They immediately have their backlines blowed up. They overcommit for a Riki who they don't have, or don't expect to have Tricks of the Trade up, and the Riki's still able to delay out, and they get the Bane and Dazzle almost immediately for BraveHeart's side. So the fight looks really good for them early on, but then, you know, the Pucks used his toolkit, the Clockwork has jumped in and used Battery Assault and roar up the Lifestealer and look to draw the engagement out, and there's just no damage left when that happens for BraveHeart's side. So maybe comes in, he's tanky, he cleans up house, you know, aggressive. We talked about the shapeshift being a really good tool overall in team fights here if he doesn't get hit by the coil. And you know, the Winter's Curse actually did work against LG, able to kill off Xiao 8 there, and in general we don't see that spell doing all that much early on, but they just don't have enough damage with the Lifestealer controlled up to bring down the Lycan and the TA. And maybe, yeah, coming in being the major beneficiary, as you already mentioned, going to pick up 2 components of his Desolator, about 1,000 gold away from that, on top of the blink that he revealed in that fight.
And of course, a double life now on the Templar Assassin as well with the Blink Dagger, and is very, very close to that Desolator. So going for future Roshans and Towers, going to be almost a complete cakewalk here for the LGD squad, and even TA with enough power to start looking at just straight up assassinations, you know, as her name would indicate. You find someone out of position, like a Winter Wyvern is an easy pick-off. Clockwork is not too difficult either, given the Desolator, of course, on the Templar Assassin. But these options are coming up, and they're going to infest gank Xiao 8 one more time. This Tricks of the Trade, they will keep him in the smoke and kill him off. MMY, though, is going to straight up grip the Lifestealer. That's going to give Riki a lot of free damage here onto the Bane. The grip not going to do enough damage to get the kill, nor the Brain Stat. Now, MMY in a little bit of trouble. He has nothing left, and a Rocket will come in for good measure. The Riki will grab that kill, and he will Blink Strike out of there, will survive the last tower shot. No support from LGD. They're in the meantime occupied over in mid, taking down a tier 1. Losing 1 tower for a tier 1 is reasonable. Losing 2 is a little bit too expensive for them to be really comfortable with. They're going to be okay with it, but I mean, these towers die so quickly that they're pretty much guaranteed down the line. You don't really want to be trading too much for them. They're still going for more, however. Psionic Trap onto red. It looks like they may just slow down a little bit, not having their Bane nor the Beastmaster quite yet in the area. Probably just wait for another creep wave, because it'll be joined with the Beastmaster level 2 aura. No joke, almost level 1 book on him, when that book is already up on the Lycan. So the zoo is being built up here by the LGD team, and for BraveHearts, again, they don't really have a great answer to that outside of this Winter Wyvern. So keeping her alive, keeping her with options for Winter's Curse is going to be one of the most important objectives for BraveHearts.
Now BraveHearts need to be able to burst down this Lycan in the next engagement. LGD, it doesn't look like there's any drawing back here, as they do have the Aegis, and they're able to hook aggressive up and smoke screen or coil him. That should bode well for them. There's just so many units on the front line that's so difficult to do, and the hook shot's now going to come through. It's going to be onto Xiao 8 here, who does have the roar available if need be. He's not going to get silenced up, but he will get brought down. Rocket Flare will be there. They get the Aegis in the meantime, but aggressive, he's kind of running free in this team fight. The coil, though, it'll keep him at bay for now. He'll now look to right click into the Ricky, and he's continuing the front line. They have no way to deal with this Lycan. He will get the open wounds off. He'll simply kite that out as his as this matchup would indicate, but they'll bring down the Necro units now. The Shapeshift will expire, and LGD will be deterred out of this mid lane. They get a pretty significant amount of damage done, but BraveHeart's control proves enough, and they actually are able to burst down Maybe, which was something they were just unable to do bot lane as he entered the fight so late. But maybe he's going to ramp up his damage potential quite a bit. So if you're able to bring him down, he is taking heroes with him going forward. The Desolator flying out now on the Courier.
He got cursed by the Winter Wyvern, and the Lycan was shapeshifted with his entire army there. And he actually just 1v1 and killed off his ally. So, I mean, that's the game plan there for the Wyvern. Land that every single time. They actually controlled the Lycan pretty well. And Lycan, even though he has max movement speed, was hit with the coil. He did have to be a little bit cautious around the cog threat as well. And because the Beastmaster died first thing, he really didn't have stopping power to actually get on top of a stunned target and kill them off. So the Lycan actually really struggled in that last engagement because of the initiation angle there from the clockwork, but regardless, it's still going to be LGD still with so much brute force power that they will go for this push on the bottom lane anyway, forcing BraveHearts to replicate that fight. Here comes Ricky, but he's going to be spotted on the incoming there, and a hook shot in onto Shower one more time. Once again, the roar may not just come out, although he's going to get graved up this time with the roar being returned in onto red. That's going to let aggressive just tear into him. At the same time, maybe he's cursed up in the background, but no one is attacking him from his allied side, so he's going to be just fine to survive. They grab 2 kills. Now they're looking for a little bit more. Coil finally drops. The grip is there onto Balloon, and he's going to get dropped as well. The Ricky is soon to fall, and now it's only the Puck to survive as LGD this time clean house, mostly because they saved the Beastmaster. The curse goes onto the T again, which is great, but with no allies around her to kill her off, LGD are going to crush BraveHearts in this fight.
Yeah, it's, as you mentioned, they're forcing them to replicate that fight, and it was a very difficult one to do. And again, it feels like the Lifestealer's impact is just so limited because of this Beastmaster Bane. He waits inside the Ricky for a very long time as they wanted to initiate onto the Lycan, but he gets the shapeshift off, and he essentially waits until the roar is gone, be able to initiate into the fight, and immediately Momoya indicates that, finds him and grips him up, and once again, just that damage taken away from BraveHearts, and that is a lot of their net worth. It's their most valuable target over on that chart. So he's, just constantly been controlled up, and the rest of BraveHearts just a little bit too control heavy, a little bit lacking on damage to bring down aggressive, and maybe they only are able to get one of those cores there, and it is a nice kill on maybe, but it ends up being a 4-for-1 for LGD, and aggressive, the major beneficiary. He's got Necro 2s up and can have a BKB relatively soon as well, so he is going to finish off the Necro books here and even fly himself out a Mithril Hammer.
They're going to look for more BraveHearts. They are, to their credit, not stopping. They are a tempo-based draft, and they are playing as if nothing happened in that last fight. They're going to catch an angle onto maybe, but September is close enough to help out. At this point, Grave level 3 has quite the cast range. Going for Templar Assassin is Not going to be super attractive, although at certain points they're going to have to watch out. This is going to come in. They hook shot onto Mage, but he's actually able to blink out of their following. Now they're going to roar up Balloon with Aggressive, just working him down. The Embrace is going to keep him alive for a little while longer, but now here's the grip. MMY is going to get silenced immediately with the coil dropping onto 2 as well. Aggressive in a lot of trouble. He's going to spawn rushing down Rebel. Blade out there, he can't get the kill, so he has to still just run around in a circle. MMY is going to get graved up. He's going to survive a little bit longer, but maybe he's just cleaning house in the background. That's 4 here down in the Flippant Eye, and now the puck is also going to fall. I think the Dazzle just may have won that fight there for LGD, just getting into that corner, and even though they were taking so much damage, none of the focus at all was going towards Maybe. Ending that fight with literally full HP, you gotta pay some heed to the Templar Assassin.
They just tried, they committed way too heavily to kill Aggressive. Aggressive played that fight almost perfectly on the Lycan, and you mentioned it, the Dazzle for September, almost MVP caliber. They're keeping him alive, forcing BraveHeart to dish their full toolkit, and much like we saw Roshan drop in the bottom lane extremely quickly, hit Rats, they left for dead in the mid lane just with 10 seconds of time. This LGD lineup. Aggressive though, he is going to get cogged up, and there's the Arctic Burn will be there. Splinter Blast will finish him off, but it's a loss that LGD can cut at this point, getting a melee Rax here 21 minutes into the game, and they will be able to extract the rest of their lineup essentially freely from this mid lane. Xiaowei will be scouted out. Hookshot though is going to be blocked, and he will be able to make it out here. So LGD, they just lose a Lycan for the high ground, and yeah, they're just once again BraveHeart just lacking a bit in damage against this Dazzle Bane duo. There's just so much control there, and one fight they will focus Maybe, Aggressive does all the work. One fight they focus Aggressive, Maybe does all the work. It just doesn't seem like they have all the answers with the Beastmaster, the Bane, and the Dazzle around these two very fat cores.
And the answers are actually coming up faster on LGD's side. Whoa, that's an Orchid on Templar Assassin. But for right now, like, the answer to the Clockwork, and the Ricky. That's Dazzle with the Force Staff. Force Staff is an absolute MVP here. MMY, the Bane with the Ether Lens for kind of similar reasons, like not to get people out, but just not get in that situation in the first place, just to cast your spells at range.
Oh, maybe.
Well, now, actually, Templar Assassin is going to get found out over in the bottom river area. No hook shot, just a clean, simple, and fast gank onto the TA is going to get them 2 big kills overall. 1 to Aggressive, 1 on the Templar Assassin, and Aggressive is actually shapeshifted up. Wants to go for red. This poor Clockwork doesn't even have the mana to use the Blade Mail, and he will get torn to bits. He'll buy back immediately as they curse up Aggressive, but that's not the hero you really want to curse. And Zoo might kill him off the Nightmare, though. Gonna save him. So he can go in for a little more. Gonna BKB, in fact, and still go ham. He'll kill off the Ricky afterwards with a grip onto Clockwork. Getting caught partier playing Clock? Probably not. He's gonna die for a second time here as Xiaowei, yeah, he is gonna drop in the back end, but it doesn't matter because the team calls GG. They just can't kill Aggressive. Lycan manning the hell up at 200 HP, BKBing and attacking into BraveHeart as if he has an Aegis. LGD end this game in spectacular fashion, 15-22, and that fight, it didn't even have the TA. There was no TA involvement at all.
And you can't even say, I mean, together the LGD lineup working so well, Maybe and Aggressive in the front lines with all the control and the sustain from September, who was almost immaculately positioned in this game on his Dazzle, and Sylar, Lycan, eat your heart out, but you can't really say it was a draft blunder